Hello there. Welcome back. Third time. Number 3. 3. You know, read it. I probably fucked up the focus right now. God damn it. Hello. There you are. So as you can probably tell by this bad boy's present, today I want to have a quick but enticing and exciting chat about the new acclaim album. Quite tasty, that one, to be honest. Wasn't expecting it, but when they dropped Shot in the Dark, I was excited.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
Now, given that for some reason it's starting to become a bit of a trend where I just talk about albums I like, which, to be honest, is a pretty good trend. It's quite enjoyable. Let's get some of the stuff out of the way immediately. Some of the fluff. It's a good album, but bottom line is it's AC/DC. So for some reason I'm feeling a bit more fatigue with this particular edition rather than what could have come in the past. I remember, for example, I wasn't that excited about Rock or Bust either, as in it was a good album, but it felt like there was something missing. With Power Up in particular, my main comment is that you unfortunately can feel the absence of Malcolm Young. And that's not entirely a bad thing, but by the same token, obviously, it's not too great altogether. He was one of the greats, so obviously without him, the group suffers. But what can we say that's really positive about the album? Well, they still have their own sound. It's still recognisable. I actually really like how clean and defined Angus's tone is throughout the album. It feels a lot less muddy, a lot much more sharper and to the point, which again, some may like, some may not. It's obviously not old school Akadaka, but I think that in this new context, it helps him kind of cut through the rest of the band and stand out. Because, since Malcolm's not around anymore, the one thing that you're going to notice is there's a lot of bass. The bass is just... For example, if you fire up Wild Reputation on the album, the actual intro is just... Which again, is something that since Back in Black came out, we kind of were okay with, but obviously it's very different compared to the vintage sounds of the group. So, much in the vein of Dylan, Springsteen, and a lot of those old school musicians who are kind of releasing new music in the 2020, in 2020, 2015 onwards, you know what I'm on about, in recent years, the question is, do we like the changes? Are we okay with them? And my answer would be yes. Because at the end of the day, if we were to listen to the same album by the same musician every year with the same style, with the same choices and everything, it'd be very fucking boring, if we're being honest. So, yes, I do like how it's a bit different. It's not the same, which obviously for some people can be a deal breaker, but it's a little bit different. And that's cool. For example, some highlights of the album, I believe, were the final shot, the final song, Code Red, which I thought was a great song, had a good energy to it, and was just quite fun, you know, more AC/DC. And I adored Through the Mist of Time. And I think those are the two songs in which Stevie kind of shines as Angus's replacement, as Malcolm's replacement. Bruh. And he does do a bloody good job for, you know, the shoes he has to fill, which, you know, power to him. Good job. I mean, Cliff and Stevie did a beautiful job, but obviously it makes it sound a lot different, which is what I was saying earlier. Now, to the bad. There are a couple of things that I kind of noticed. You may have heard me hint, so far, at the fact that, you know, it's more AC/DC. Now, as you may have noticed when I did this, there is one thing that I said about AC/DC in the negatives, and I will always say about AC/DC in the negatives, because of the stylistic choice of the band, which is just to melt your face with rock and roll, which is very cool. There's a negative. There's a glaring negative, that if you kind of sit back and just play all the music in the background, and don't really focus too much on what's going on, it all sounds the fucking same. And if you don't believe me, and you're just going to try to, say, oh, fuck off, Fred, you're chatting. I'm not really. If you put together realise, and it starts with the... Not very Akadaka-like tone there, but, I'm trying to keep it quiet. You notice that it sounds a bit like another song that came out a while ago. Almost exactly the same as For Those About to Rock. We salute you. Great fucking song. That's Akadaka, actual anthem. The shit is fire. It's good. But just listening together. Or, maybe I can try doing something in post. But we'll see what happens. But yeah, they're very similar. Or if you call up Demon Fire, sounds a bit like Whole Lotta Rosie. Don't know if you paid attention to that. It's a bit silent, has the big powerful riff, then quiets down again, and there's a big powerful riff, all kind of in the same pentatonic-y, blues boxy area. It's not the same, but it's very reminiscent. Obviously, once that intro bit kind of flies out the window, the differences come into play, but you can definitely hear there's still a lot of similarities to the old work. Maybe a bit too much? Well, that's for you to decide at the end of the day. All in all, though, the album is really good, and as I was reading this morning and listening to a couple of interviews, because I wanted to make sure I had a decent amount of information before just start, just blasting the album or chatting shit or praising it for no reason and such. But obviously, Malcolm started writing the album and started helping out with the riff construction before he passed away. So that, I believe, could be one of the main reasons that some of the riffs kind of sound like some others, in the sense that obviously that's his taste, that's what he likes, that's what they like as a group, so it would make sense that they sound a lot like each other. But more on the positive side, I think the new additions in this new context, with especially the return of Brian Johnson, I'm so happy about that, because I don't think that anyone else could do the same as frontman. Not that anyone else has tried, obviously. My poor ears. But the new additions, and let's say the new dynamics of the group, were rather helpful. It did give it a bit of a unique edge. So, all in all, album's good. Good meme. Would definitely slap it. And if you would be so kind as to grab your beverage, sign off, and go give it a listen yourself. You may have something to say to me. But yeah, that's kind of it. See ya.